When organizations are determining how to support their existing systems, it's often a foregone conclusion that they must use vendor-mandated support. However, that's not true, and that's what I want to talk about here in today's video. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're a tech-agnostic, client-side consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world with their digital transformation journeys. And I'm here in downtown Chicago at the Rimini Street offices here with Scott Hayes. Scott, thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, glad you could come by.
Absolutely. So when IT leaders are thinking about their support options, what should they know or what do they need to know about independent support options?
Well, absolutely. That is the first thing they need to know, that there is an alternative out there. Third-party support for enterprise software has been around for 20 plus years now. And Rimini Street has been at the forefront of that movement. So what is it? Well, it is an alternative, right, to the vendor support. It's an alternative that typically comes with significant dollar savings, as well as significant differences in the scope of support, the responsiveness of support, and maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. But one of the beauties of that is that by taking and reducing a large expense in the business, and I'm talking about the fees you pay to the vendor, plus the cost you incur from a regular cadence of upgrades and the disruption that might be to your business, plus the cost of self-support, because you might feel that you need to have some of your own people on staff to help resolve or at least triage some issues. All of those things add up to a lot of money. So if you can take a lot of that money and instead of paying that to the vendor and to your own team for those tasks, instead you could be investing that in innovation. So what we want CIOs out there to know is that really they should focus on having a business-driven roadmap instead of a vendor-dictated one that mandates a certain cadence of upgrades and migrations just to stay under full support.
Right. So let me back up for a minute, though. If you're not the vendor, if Rimini Street did not develop the software, you didn't build it, how are you able to provide that third-party support?
Well, let me ask you a different question. Do you take your car to the dealer for an oil change?
I do not.
Okay, well, there we go. So it is true that a third party can, in fact, provide a full, complete, wide range of support for existing products, and it doesn't necessarily require access to the source code or compiled code. We find that a lot of issues are really about how the software is being used, how it's configured, a change that was made outside the system that now affects the system, a change that was made to a customization. And those are all things that we can help our clients resolve. We've been doing this for 20 years and we have a 4.9 out of 5.0 client satisfaction rating for hundreds of thousands of cases. And so obviously we are able to do what's needed by our clients to keep them up and running and make their software work for them.
And that's exactly how I originally heard about you, is because some of our clients are actually using Rimini Street support. So
Oh,
that's
great.
where I first learned about it. But what is it that makes Rimini Street support unique?
There are several things. One is we assign a primary support engineer to each client for each major piece of software that they are running. And that PSE, primary support engineer, comes from a team that has an average of 20 plus years of experience. Behind them are a global team of engineers that have at least 10 years of experience. We also have service level agreements, SLAs, for responsiveness and for case update communications. So specifically for priority one issues, house on fire, system down issues, we commit to respond within 10 minutes of that case being opened. Now, as a practice, we've done actually better than that. Our P1 and P2 cases, those that are serious but not critical, have been averaging less than 2 minutes to respond. And I don't mean, hey, we got your issue and here's your ticket number. I mean, you're directly engaged with an expert engineer to start on the resolution of that issue within minutes. So that's a big difference. The next one is we don't require upgrades. So our clients are allowed to run the software that they have and receive full support from us for up to 15 years or more. It's up to a client whether or not they want to run that software that long, but it certainly gives them plenty of runway to do what they want to do with that software. That's another major difference. A third one is supporting customizations. I mentioned this earlier, that if you've created a customization and you're running it and it's an important part of your business, then it's important to us too. And if that breaks, or if something in the software causes it to break, or reconfiguration or an integration with something else needs to be fixed because of the customization, we'll take care of that too. So those are the key things that are different. But then it's amazing, but all of that is available at a significant lower cost than typically what you're paying the vendor and doing to operate your software.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What are some examples of some of the software vendors that you support?
Well, the big ERP properties from Oracle and SAP, at the top of the list. So, Oracle, EBS, JD Edwards, and then from SAP, the SAP ECC property, S/4HANA. And these are companies that are running that software with a perpetual license. This is a really important issue because with perpetual licensing, you can run that software for as long as you wish. You have the right to do so. And the annual maintenance agreement is separate. Okay. And it is exactly that split between the right to use the software and the maintenance for it that allows them the opportunity to go shop around support to somebody else. And so when I mentioned S/4HANA, for instance, there's thousands of clients running S/4HANA with perpetual licenses. They may or may not be running on-prem. Many of them are, but you can also take those licenses and bring them to the cloud. So we're supporting ECC and S/4HANA clients running perpetual licenses, both on-prem and in the cloud. Now, besides that, so those are some of the big applications. There are other point solutions from each of those vendors that we also support. You think about Hyperion and Agile and Retech on the Oracle side, and on the SAP side, the HANA database, for instance. If a client has moved to the HANA database, we'll support that. But that gives us applications and databases. And then a little over a year ago, we started supporting infrastructure like VMware. Because of some of the moves in the market with Broadcom acquiring the VMware property, there was a real opportunity for us to move in. So beyond that, there's lots of other software, enterprise software that's running. I could have a long list of that, but our goal is really to provide a single trusted vendor of choice for supporting the footprint, the portfolio of your enterprise software. And so we've made available to our clients and prospects the opportunity to see, hey, what have we said we'll already support? And what might they want to suggest that we support next? Because that's how we've been drawn into almost every one of these, is our clients have said, hey, you've done such a great job with this. Could you support that as well? And typically our answer is yes, let's get on it.
I could see that taking a lot of pressure off your customers, pressure off of the vendor roadmaps and the mandates and things of that nature.
The amount of freedom is amazing.
Mm-hmm. What kind of outcomes can customers expect with this third-party support model?
Well, we've talked about having a more responsive and more comprehensive support partner. But there's also a great amount of freedom that comes with this. So one of the outcomes is being able to free up your staff and push them toward more, revenue generating or transformational initiatives that might be on your docket. And that comes from the freedom you have to make choices about what version you run, how long you run it, where you use it in your business, and what you decide to integrate with it. So besides the savings and staff redeployment, that freedom is really an excellent opportunity for CIOs to get done what they need to get done, as opposed to making a massive ongoing investment in this hamster wheel of upgrades that the vendors typically require.
Right. Well, this freedom and this reduced cost sounds great. It's good stuff. But what about innovation? Doesn't it slow down innovation to rely on a third-party support model?
Yeah, I think it's actually quite the opposite. When you don't have to do an upgrade, every 2-3 years, which is not easy when you're talking about very complex, highly customized ERP software and other software in your enterprise, there's a great deal of effort and time that goes into that. The biggest cause of a problem with enterprise software is when it changes. If you could just keep the ones and the zeros, it's going to operate exactly as it did yesterday, right? So not having to be on this regular cycle of change reduces risk and brings in the opportunity then to invest that time and effort and spend into something you really need to get done for the business. So we actually believe that it accelerates innovation that's important and prioritized to the business, as opposed to whatever grab bag of innovation comes with the next release from the vendor.
Right. It's almost like it's reducing the friction towards innovation. It's reducing the obstacles to getting to the innovation that
Exactly.
we're all aspiring to.
Right. Set an established, stable, secure, compliant, performant baseline, and then go innovate on top of that.
Right. I've spoken with your team in recent months about the concern that internal and external auditors often have about security and regulatory compliance. And a lot of times there's a checklist they go through and they say, am I on the latest version or the most supported version of the software? Yes or no. If I have to check that box, no, I'm not on the most recent version, or I'm on an unsupported version, unsupported by the vendor. How does that affect regulatory and security issues?
Yeah. This is not an uncommon question. And we take a different approach. We certainly don't think a checkbox on a piece of paper is really making a company more secure. One of the challenges with remaining secure in the vendor patching model is that you've got to keep up to date on those patches, not only your awareness of them, but your download of them and your application of them in your production environments. And by the way, those patches may be patching something that's been an issue for a while, but it's just become a known vulnerability. For a while, it was an unknown vulnerability. Rimini Street takes a different approach, one that's a bit more proactive with security solutions that mitigate risk from both known vulnerabilities as well as unknown vulnerabilities. And we do that without requiring this constant update of patches to the software. So it's really solutions that sit around and are mitigating both known and unknown issues. Now, that is a very, very important part of running your software and keeping your business and your data protected. The other one is compliance, as you said, related to tax, legal, and regulatory issues. We knew from the get-go that if we were going to take this on, supporting ERP systems, that we were going to have to provide tax, legal, and regulatory updates. So we have systems and people in place that scour thousands of resources for regulatory, tax, and legal changes around the world in over 150 countries. We database those, we vet them against our clients and what they're running. We say, okay, here's the change in this country. Which of our clients have operations in that country? What product is that client running that would use this change? And what version of the product is that client on? And then we put together a package of TLR, tax, legal, and regulatory updates for that client, making sure that their countries, their products, and their versions are covered for those changes without introducing any other changes that may not be applicable to them. So getting very thorough and very specific on tax, legal, and regulatory updates reduces risk associated with compliance and with operating the system.
I imagine there's a lot of CFOs and auditors out there that would love to hear that.
And we're happy to tell them that.
Right. Those are pretty interesting and amazing results. What else do you guys do differently?
Yeah, from the very beginning, we decided to be the absolute experts in support services. And we invest heavily into processes and procedures and systems that help our engineers help our clients. In fact, we've developed 3 AI-based applications, not to put between us and our clients. In fact, this was long before ChatGPT, years before, but rather to put behind our engineers to help them and their managers do better. And what we found is that with one of these applications, we were able to improve our own case resolution times by 23% because it expedited getting a particular issue to the best engineer to resolve this issue based on a number of different factors. In fact, 35 or more different vectors of information go into that algorithm. Then there's a couple of other AI applications, one of them that helps reduce the probability that a case would become urgent. For instance, it's kind of self-escalation.
Mm.
So we've done a lot of investment there and a lot of investment in the processes that would help us get our job done quickly and almost as importantly, keep the client in the loop. There's no black box here. So we're on the hook with our service level agreements, our SLAs, to report with a regular cadence what's going on with each case. We call it the Case Update Communications, SLA. And with that, our clients are informed every step along the way of where this case is, what's happening, what's next, until it gets resolved. And those are ways that we've made it completely different than the kinds of support experience they might be more familiar with.
Right. So this sounds great. And for a lot of people listening right now or watching, they might be interested in knowing more. And I guess my question for you, just to wrap things up, is where should CIOs start as they think about what my options really are, my full suite of options for support and maintenance?
That's exactly number one. Know that you have options. A lot of them don't, Eric. And I hope this video opens the eyes for some who just never thought that they could take a mission critical, enterprise-wide piece of software to a third-party support provider. Right. That is an option. So they need to consider that. They need to consider what their roadmap is and what they need to get done for their business. Right now, we don't have to get into all of it, but right now, this inflection of AI and agentic AI as an augmentation of existing people and processes in a business is an inflection point in enterprise software like you and I have never seen in our lifetimes, apart from maybe, the switch to the internet or client server or something like that. I mean, this is huge. And it's a time where CIOs need to prioritize the business change that needs to happen and then choose the technology and the providers to make that happen. We truly believe that with our what we call the Smart Path methodology, 3 basic steps of support, optimize, and innovate, we can help those CIOs and their teams and their line of business stakeholders get to where they need to be faster, better, and cheaper than the vendor-driven roadmap that they've been on for many, many years.
Right. Well, this is super interesting. Thanks for opening our eyes to a really good option in the marketplace that does provide options, potentially lower cost, more flexibility, more options. So really appreciate you sharing your insights here today, Scott.
Yeah. Thanks, Eric.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to learn more about third-party maintenance and on other types of trends in the industry, please feel free to check out our annual digital transformation report. It's chock full of independent reviews and rankings of different software solutions, as well as other trends in the industry that you should be aware of. You can learn more by scanning the QR code right here, or you can go to the links below. So I hope you found this information useful, and I hope you have a great day.